Hey guys, how are we doing? Welcome to another news update here on Buzzing Pattaya. And what a week, I've got to be honest with you. Going through the news at the moment, it is just a tad somber. There's not a lot of nice things to be able to report, unfortunately. So I'm going to go through some stuff and try and give you a different view on the situations that have happened and maybe how to prevent these things happening and just the just the fallout from what these kind of situations can bring. So in the week, I'm getting most of my news from the Pattaya News. It's a very good news source. There is a link in the description below to their website. So if you want to follow up on any of these subjects, any of these topics that I'm talking about today, have a look there. Go over there and have a look at the news. Like I say, it's probably one of my more favoured go-to news places in terms of the fact that it's pretty much up to date and on the ball. So have a look there, guys. All right, so now, as you know, we've had the fatality, the fire, which has obviously been in all the news about the club. That's still in progress. I guess eventually in time we'll tell as to where that goes. However, there's since been another fire. Luckily, there was no injuries whatsoever on this, and this was in a fire caused by a short circuit in North Pattaya, alarms tourists. So it goes on to say here, the one-storey building stood across from the Alcazar Cabaret Theatre on Pattaya's second road. The fire broke out in one of the building's rooms and was quickly extinguished by firefighters. The room was empty, but the door, ceiling and roof were badly damaged. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. But what it does go on to say here, carried on, it says, the cause was believed to be a short circuit, according to the firefighters. Law enforcement officers said they would summon the building's owner for legal action. Now, I'm not very good on this kind of stuff, so maybe you can help me, but surely he wouldn't be responsible for a short circuit unless the wiring and stuff inside wasn't up to standard, which maybe, and quite likely, I guess, probably it wasn't. But the good news is that nobody was hurt. If you're not sure where I'm talking about, Alcazar is along Second Road. It's a cabaret show, and in its day, fantastic shows. Even if you're not into the whole ladyboy scene, literally have a look. It really is fantastic. It's a great event, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that will be bouncing through the ceiling very soon. It seems that the fire theme is continuing, and fingers crossed, they sort out the fire that's been recently in the club. And let's hope that all comes to a good conclusion. Now, when you guys come out here, particularly if you go to the local national parks and things like that, it's very easy to forget or not even be aware of certain rules. Now, this guy was down in Krabi and he went fishing, thinking that it was absolutely no dramas whatsoever, and in fact, it's actually caused him a serious backlash of problems. And it goes on to say here, it says, a foreigner was caught on social media allegedly catching parrotfish in a national park area in Krabi. The video has first been noticed on TikTok and then widely shared by outraged Thais. So the guy had gone in there and he started fishing. The parrotfish is not a protected marine animal, but all marine animals are not allowed to be caught in the national park area. And that's a really important thing to remember, guys. When you are in these national parks, you have to keep in with what their rules and regulations are. Certain places, especially if you go to some of these temples, they won't permit photography. And it's just these little things that maybe, you just check before you go in. Don't just think, oh, that'll be okay, because obviously there's this guy's found out now. He's in a world of trouble, because it goes on to say the foreigner could face up to 5 years in a Thai prison under strict national park laws, as well as high fines and the threat of being deported and blacklisted after. Now, he's gone in there. He's not really given it much thought, I guess. He certainly hasn't asked the rules and regulations. And before people jump on and say, yeah, well, how do we know? A lot of the national parks have huge signboards on entrance. If they give you a leaflet to come in, some of the leaflets will dictate what you can and can't do. So it really is worth just, reading through these things. I know we look at and go, whatever, and carry on going. But generally speaking, it really is worth just giving it that little bit of attention, because as this guy's now found out, and he is in a serious world of problems here. And for something as, I wouldn't say as little as, but just for, doing a bit of fishing, not really realising that he was creating a massive problem and a massive crime. And of course, that's now going to, that is going to definitely relieve his wallet, if nothing else. So, little things like, I made mention a long time ago about standing on the coin. Remember flicking the coin? You can't flick the coin. I dropped a 20 baht note once. I stood on it. The policeman went ballistic at me, fined me 1,000 baht. Remember, the coin carries the royal family. And if you're starting flicking it around, or you toss it around, or you tread on it if it falls on the floor, again, just something, a natural reaction back in your own country. You know, I wouldn't think twice. I mean, flipping out, we flick coins to play pool in England. That's what we do. But out here, no, absolutely no. And if you stood in a bar and you flicked a coin, a 10 baht coin, let's just say, to see who plays first or who starts the game of pool, I'm not saying it will happen all the time, but it could happen, where if a policeman was walking past and saw you, you're in hot water, maybe some of the locals might even take offense to it, and it could cause a heated argument. So just be aware of those kind of things, guys. My moral of this story is check before you assume. Now, we've had a bit of a rough time recently, and I put a video up. I did the Bangkok trip, and there's another video out tomorrow which is about the nightlife, so have a look at that one. But one of the points that came back to me from the video I did on, what day did I go? Saturday. The video I did showed me travelling from the train station to my hotel on the back of a motorbike. Couple of points, guys. Number one is not every motorbike taxi or provider will give you a spare helmet. And obviously you don't walk around the city carrying a helmet, which is why I didn't have a helmet on. Now, you could argue the fact and say, well, why don't you just wait and find someone that does have a helmet? But trust me, for every one that does, there's 9 that don't. So, yeah, obviously it's not a good situation, but it's a situation to be aware of. And it kind of brought home the fact that we do live in a very, very dangerous country in terms of the road traffic accidents. And again, it gets highlighted here. It says, little context is likely needed, but on a day after 3 people, 2 of them foreigners, were killed in separate motorbike accidents in Pattaya alone, we want to hear from our readers what can finally stop or severely curb the carnage on Thai roads, leading to thousands of deaths and injuries. Now, that's in the Pattaya news. And I read through some of the comments, and there were some good comments in there, but I don't think it will ever change. And that's the question I want to ask you guys. You know, what do you think? How would you, if you were in charge of the riding regulations out here, the motoring, the transportation, what would you do? How would you change what we currently do here in order to try and minimize the amount of accidents? And over the 10 years of being here, you know, I've made mention to this a few times. I've seen some pretty disastrous and very horrific accidents out here. You know, the worst one I've ever seen was back in Soi Siam. We used to have a place, and this is the irony of it, it used to be called the Chicken Crossroads. And if you go up Soi Siam, where the roads cross, and if you was to turn right, coming up from Sukhumvit Road, it would take you over to Soi Nampagwan, and if you turned left, it would take you over to the east side of Pattaya. But it was called the Chicken Crossroads. For the fact was there was no lights, and it was just a gauntlet. You know, you just run the light, and you know you just looked and I'll go. And I saw a really, really devastating, and it played on my mind for a long time, where I saw a poor schoolgirl under a truck, been hit by a truck on her motorbike, and it was just horrific. And you know the funny, well not funny, there's nothing funny about this, but the interesting thing about this was they did actually go back and put some traffic lights in. They lasted a few months, and then they got completely just disconnected because no one was taking any notice of them whatsoever, and it was just carnage. So I don't know, you know, what would you do? How would you rectify the driving problems out here? Because it really is a huge issue. And something which is really quite shocking, and it's on the subject of car crashes, etc. So I thought I'd bring this in here. Is in the news. It says the Sriracha highway rescuers who forgot the body of a car crash victim inside the car for 12 hours will be facing an investigation from the Department of Highways and the Highway Police Division. And what it goes on to say here is it basically says that they'd been to the scene of an accident, that when they looked in the car, it says here, on the day of the accident, rescuers who went to the scene claimed they thoroughly checked the wreckage and only found a prescription bag which belonged to the victim. However, no body was found, so the rescuers assumed that the victim had already been transported to a hospital. Now, later on, it goes on to say here, a vehicle was then towed to a police pound. No hospital reported the victim's admission. So a policeman went to inspect a vehicle and found the body beneath a steering wheel covered in a lot of clothes. I mean, seriously, honestly, how can that possibly happen? I mean, you know, just, I don't know, just beggars belief, it really does, as to how those kind of situations can actually happen. You know, if you're in the emergency services, well, surely to God, you must have thorough procedures where you like pick stuff up and just check. I mean, you know, it's just, and we're talking about a human body here. We're not talking about like, you know, a handbag or something small that could easily get missed, I guess. We're talking about a human being here. You know, it really is. So, yeah, not a good situation. And I want to apologise again, guys. I'm sorry about the theme of today's news. It is a lot of doom and gloom. I do apologise. You know me. I'm not a doom and gloom monger. I like to be happy and, you know, try and bring the positives. But there's not a lot here. I've got 2 more negatives, and then I will finish on a positive. So please, I apologise for this week's news. I can only go by what's been given. Now, this does worry me, and it goes back to those of you that were coming out here probably about 5 years ago, maybe 6, 7 years. You'll remember that we had an incredible amount of what we nicknamed jumpers. And these were guys and girls and people that would go into condominiums and they would just end their lives, sadly. And it was quite regular, you know, it was a weekly occurrence that somebody somewhere in either Naklua, Jomtien or Prachuap or Pattaya would unfortunately end their life by jumping off of a condo. The irony of it is that this hasn't happened for a long time, despite the last 2 years that we've been through, which I have to say, considering all the problems that the last 2 years have caused, it does kind of surprise me, if I'm being honest. But I'm pleased that it hasn't happened. However, sadly, another victim did take his own life, and really sadly, he was just 41 years old. It says here, a 41-year-old Australian man whose name was withheld by law enforcement and the Thai Pattaya News policy on suicides, reportedly walked into the condominium to rent a room. While checking his room on the 17th floor, however, the man just climbed over the balcony railing and dived to his death, terrifying the clerk and other people at the condominium. And it's horrific. You know, I remember way back when the jumper did the Hilton. He jumped off the Hilton and actually crashed through the restaurant down below. I mean, you know, can you imagine sitting there eating your food and suddenly, you know, sadly someone just comes through the ceiling having killed themselves. And also it goes to the person that's done what they've done. You know, is there no one out there to help? Is there no one out there? And this kind of like, it's something that's quite common here, where people will just try and take all they can from you, and you're very lonely at times here, very, very lonely. It's not like back in your home country, certainly not back in the UK, where you can, you know, go and take action and stuff. Particularly if it's like a phalang with a phalang, they tend to not really be interested in that. So I don't know why he did it. Obviously, it's very sad that he did do what he's done. You know, obviously his family and those people that are around him. And imagine the poor guy just showing them around in the condo, you know, doing his job, going about his normal day, and unfortunately the guy decides to just leap off the edge. You know, how's that going to affect him? But yeah, so sadly that's what's happened. But all I do want to say is, you know, guys, if you are in a situation where things are not going so well and things are not working out, you know, I've made it no hidden secret. I suffer with depression quite regularly. I have fits of tears, and I understand why. I don't understand why I'm actually doing it, but I understand the reasons behind it, because that's how my body's working at that moment given in time. But what I would like to say, guys, you know, if you need to reach out, you know, reach out, please. You know, even if it's a simple thing like messaging me or whatever, do you know what I mean? It just, there has to be someone around that can listen. So, you know, please reach out, guys. Now, gambling. You may or may not be aware, but gambling is 100% here illegal unless it is the National Lottery. If you are caught playing cards, you're caught gambling in any way, shape or form, even to the level of, if you want to say if you may be talking to a girl in a bar and you say, look, here's 100 baht, I'll put the 100 baht under the Connect 4 or the jackpot, and you are seen or perceived to be gambling here, you are in deep water, guys. Please don't do it. Just don't do it. Even to the lengths of, if you're sitting on your mobile phone and you're doing an online bet, guys, take it to the toilet and do it in there, because if you get caught, you are in serious trouble. It is illegal here. You know, I would recommend you don't do it, but if you are going to do it, then please, you know, be very, very careful. And also as well, you know, don't think that you're safe, because here's a news article here. It says 3 people arrested at a condo. They're behind closed doors, guys. They're arrested at a condo in Pattaya for allegedly operating online gaming websites. 3 Thai suspects have been arrested, and I won't say their names, but 3 Thai suspects have been arrested. And it says they're seized from them with 3 laptops, 3 sets of computers and 7 mobile phones. They're facing charges of illegally operating online gambling websites and inviting people to join online gambling via electronic devices. You know, they're going to be in a world of trouble, guys. They are going to be in a world of trouble. So please, you know, don't let an innocuous action like, oh, come on, I'll bet you 100 baht, I'll beat you at Connect 4. I know it's extremely unlikely to happen. I know that, but never say never. So, you know, just be aware of what could or couldn't happen, and just maybe just leave it alone. Buy her a drink when she beats you. Because they are good. They are good at Connect 4 and Jackpot. Man. Right. On a final note and on a happier note. So obviously, you know, it's been Mother's Day this weekend. So the Stones House, now the Stones House is a rock bar in Walking Street. The Stones House owner and staff give away free meals on Pattaya's Walking Street to celebrate Mother's Day. What a lovely gesture. It's a shame that it doesn't get done more regularly, but it is a lovely gesture. I would have preferred, being a selfish person, that they'd have got in a vehicle and gone around and found people that actually need the food, rather than people that are just walking around, oh, there's a free meal, I'll go and grab that. But nevertheless, it is a nice gesture, and, you know, to give away the food, that was a good thing. Like I say, I would rather that they just generally walked, put it in the car and drove off. Like, remember what we did? You know, 12 weeks we went around feeding the homeless during the 2 years. The last 2 years of the situation we've been in. So, and you know, it was very, very rewarding. Not for me as in, oh, look at me, but me to see these people getting desperately needed food. And you may remember we saved the life of the young boy that was in the boxing gym that was desperately in need of medical attention. It goes on to say, many people lined up to get free meals, such as some damn snacks, water and other necessities. Even so, they still had to comply with the COVID-19 regulations, such as wearing a mask and keeping their hands clean. She said she'll repeat this event every year. Come on, you know, every year? Oh well. Anyway, something's better than nothing, I guess. All right, so there we go, guys. That's it for this week. Like I say, I apologise. It's been a bit negative this week. There's not really much positivity to bring to you. What I will say is that tomorrow I cover the video of Bangkok, my nighttime visit. So you'll get to see what's going on of a night time up there. I won't talk about it now. Have a watch. Let's just say it was challenging. Let's go with that word. We'll say challenging. All right, so next week, hopefully, fingers crossed, I can bring a lot more happiness to the channel, and we can start building up on things that are happening, big events. Incidentally, very quickly, the music event's going very well, so that's good to see. I think they're in Jomtien this week. We're in Jomtien this weekend, I think. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, all good stuff. Right, that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Please, as always, remember, hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon if you'd like to be notified when I bring out a new video. Have a look on Discord. 17,300 members are on there now. All like-minded people just like yourselves. It's completely free. All there to go and talk about Bangkok and talk about Phuket, talk about Pattaya. We've got dedicated rooms for all the bars, etc. So have a look on there. And if you would like to support the channel and the work that I'm doing here, there is a link in the description below. Membership starts from as little as 89 pence a month. That's it from me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. And please, as always, wherever you are in the world, stay safe.